This top 10 list contains elements that are not suitable for people under the age of 14. Viewer discretion is advised. Also, I do not own any of the songs in this video. All rights go to their respective copyright holders. Carpe diem, my name is Ultranatic, a lover of animation, reality shows, and I may as well add this to my intro now, and music.
I don't wanna be alone tonight. It's pretty clear that I'm not over you.
Yeah, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I love music. And there's only so many ways I can describe why I do. It can act as an escapism from the hardships of everyday life, or as a vehicle to work through said hardships in everyday life.
Let me photograph you in this light in case it is the last time.
And given what hardships we're currently going through, we need that more than ever. So I figured I'd do another retrospective top 10 list for our past year for the Billboard charts. And since we're in the final weeks of October, I figured it most appropriate to cover a year synonymous with terrifying music. So what year do I have on my plate this month?
Ooka chaka, ooka, ooka, ooka chaka, ooka, ooka, ooka chaka, ooka.
What have I got myself into?
Hooked on a feeling.
Yeah, 1974, a year that was incredibly controversial both back then and in hindsight. You know, with Watergate forcing Nixon's VP to take his place, us still being in the middle of the Vietnam War, and... oh, come on, seriously?
You think I am like shocked by it, so I'm up here bashing it because I don't like gay people? I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay!
I'm not saying I wish Alex Jones had never been born, but couldn't he have been born a year earlier or later or something? Because all of these facts don't make 1974 look good as a year on whole. Heck, it almost makes 2020 look good. Okay, that might be going a bit far.
I try to be everything that I can.
But if there's one thing 2020 has over 1974, it's probably its music scene. Because, the popular music of 1974 has quite possibly the worst reputation of any year in popular music, with several online sources citing it as one of the worst, if not the worst year for popular music in American history.
I am taking us back to the storied, famous, worst year in pop music history, 1974.
The infamous 1974.
Washington Post music critic Tim Page concluded to his horror that 1974 was the worst year, bar none, in the history of popular music.
Are they right?
I take you to the candy shop. I let you the lollipop. Go ahead, girl, don't you stop. I like me better when I'm with you.
It's got competition.
We had joy, we had fun, we had seasons in the sun.
But there are reasons this year is in that competition. My knowledge of music might be pretty limited since I'm most familiar with music from the last 10 years primarily. So maybe the 70s are a decade I just have a hard time relating to either way. I don't know, my own parents were only just starting kindergarten back then. But even if I imagine myself growing up in the 70s, some of this music is just disgraceful. We got bloated soft rock, flavorless country, and weird experiments that even Frankenstein wouldn't have attempted. Hey, I did say this year was synonymous with terrifying music, and I meant it. You wanna know how terrifying this year in music is? Nothing. Nada. This year is so terrifying that no one has mustered up the strength to tackle this infamously terrible year for popular music in video format. All the more reason to tackle it now, a mere week or so before Halloween. I swear that follows me around everywhere I go. So, let's see if the power of Christ can compel me. This is a list of what I consider the top 10 worst hit songs of 1974. Pray for me, folks. Number 10. You want to know the crazy thing about this list? Despite how infamous a lot of these songs are, you might come across a few surprises here and there, whether they be songs you're unfamiliar with, or songs you'd be surprised that anybody would put on a worst of list. This is gonna be one of the latter. I've got some explaining to do. Yeah, this'll get me a lot of fans. Me bashing one of ABBA's most popular songs. What kind of stickler am I to do such a cruel and heartless thing? I'd have to be the biggest hater of ABBA in the world to do something like that, right? Well, not only do I not dislike this group, you could safely call me an otherwise devoted fan. Yeah, ever since Halloween 2010, when I first saw the Community episode Epidemiology, where several of their greatest hits, including this one, were played.
Oh, you may also want to adjust your iTunes setting when it's not playing an endless loop of ABBA's greatest hits.
Which was a genuinely hilarious choice, but ever since then, I discovered I like quite a lot of their songs. Some of them are very emotional, moving ballads that give a lot of insight into the songwriting skills of this group.
There was something in the air that night. The stars were bright, Fernando.
And others are just straight up really fun dance tracks. So for this pop supergroup to be one of the most successful music groups of all time, I'm incredibly happy for that. But were they without fault? No, everyone's got a bad one in them, and I genuinely do think Waterloo is a terrible song. A hateable song, though? No, I cannot say that I hate this song. In fact, there are several songs that didn't make this list I consider far more unlikable than this one. Heck, a part of me really does like it. With its upbeat production and joyously danceable format, it's really hard to not get into it. I dare say this song could be played at the end of some movies as maybe the triumphant ending to some wacky screwball story. Until you realize nothing about this song is triumphant at all. That's not me projecting anything either, that is literally the point of the song. For those unfamiliar with European history, the song Waterloo is referencing the Battle of Waterloo, the final battle of the Napoleonic Wars when Napoleon...
Girls only want boyfriends who have great skills.
Bonaparte was defeated by British and Prussian armies and forced to be exiled. It is widely considered to be Bonaparte's biggest failure, so much so we now have an expression for it in the same vein as My Name is Mud. But just because something bad has happened in history doesn't mean we can't write songs about it. Heck, I encourage it. Bastile's Pompeii is a strong, grandiose song using the city's destruction in clever metaphorical contexts.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all?
U2's Sunday Bloody Sunday is one of the most widely beloved political songs regarding the horror of British soldiers shooting protesters.
Battle's just begun. Was many lost? Tell me who has won?
Oh, and speaking of...
Too many mothers just grieving, they killing us for no reason. Been going on for too long to get even. Throw us in cages like dogs and hyenas. I went to court and they sent me to prison.
Yeah, so if Evan wants to use the Battle of Waterloo as the basis for a song of theirs, who am I to deny them? So go ahead, ABBA. What's the context for this song titled Waterloo? What? So, these people are apparently surrendering in this game of love to whoever the song is addressed to. That's not exactly a strange concept in music. In fact, you could argue it's a deep emotional decision that carries a lot of weight to it.
'Cause I surrender everything to feel the chance to live again.
But surrendering is more a symbolic gesture, not to be taken seriously. So, how are you supposed to take a group comparing their love to an actual historical surrender?
Napoleon did surrender. Oh yeah, and I have met my destiny in quite a similar way.
I can't be the only person who considers this a crazy subject material for a song. I mean, imagine if someone wrote a song comparing their love to somebody to the Battle of Appomattox Courthouse. Wouldn't you consider that misconceived and totally bonkers? But let's assume that isn't meant to signify the actual battle, even though it obviously is, and instead the expression I mentioned earlier. If someone is to have met their Waterloo, it means meeting their greatest obstacle and being defeated by it. Yeah, that still wouldn't work. Even if you're happily surrendering to your SO and saying, "Aw shucks, I give up, I can't help but love ya," that still doesn't account for the first part of that idiom of meeting your greatest obstacle.
Tried to hold you back, but you were stronger. Oh yeah, and now it seems my only chance is giving up the fight.
So what they're saying is the guy they love is a real piece of work and why bother? I cave, I'm yours.
Knowing my fate is to be with you.
So yeah, with a mentality that phenomenally misguided, why is this song so cheerful?
How could I ever refuse? I feel like I win when I lose.
There's being a good loser, and then there's being delusionally devoted to somebody. As catchy as this song is, I can't fathom how people aren't utterly baffled by its conception. Granted, this song got popular via the Eurovision Song Contest, actually winning it, and my guess is things were different back then.
How about that for an on-stage performance? Sweden, they've never won it, but they've surely got to be up amongst the reckoning with that one.
I don't know what people thought about the battle at the time, nor do I still know fully what people's personal thoughts on this truly are. All I know is, historically, it's regarded as an overall failure that only led to the end of an otherwise well-remembered public figure. So how a song built on it also led to the success of another huge public figure, one of the most beloved pop supergroups of all time. Since this was also their first huge hit in America, I guess I'll never fully understand. I guess I compare my thoughts on this song to the battle at Yorktown.
Knowing my fate is to be with you.
Number 9. As much as I criticize the last entry, I'll give ABBA some credit. At least they know what that historical event was. Imagine if they'd gotten it totally wrong. Yeah, if you have a bingo card for the worst hit songs of 1974, just check this song off.
In the heat of a summer night, in the land of the dollar bill.
A part of me wonders if I even need to go over this song, given Todd in the Shadows pretty much covered everything in his one-hit wonderland of it. But the cliff notes are this. Paper Lace made a hit song inspired by the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, where Al Capone's syndicate murdered 7 members of a rival gang. Wait a minute, we now have hit songs featuring Al Capone and Napoleon Bonaparte, who were both minor villains in Night at the Museum 2.
Some of the most despicable, the most feared leader in all of history.
Well then, to get the hat trick here, we just need a song about Ivan the Terrible. As someone who genuinely enjoys opera music,
I think that's the worst thing I've ever heard.
When a man named Al Capone tried to make that town his own.
although not much worse than what this song details. Oh, not that the orchestration is bad. Again, I kind of enjoy the build-up to this.
Back in the USA, back in the bad old days.
No, I mean, it's worse than what information the song actually gives. If you thought it was bad for a song's inspiration to be about a historical massacre, well, how about we inflate it just a bit? Instead of 7 casualties, how about...
They were shouting in the street, and the sound of running feet. And I asked someone who said, about 100 cops are dead.
100 cops. 100 dead cops.
Okay, not all of my thoughts are just gonna be Todd's, but enough of them are, so I'll just breeze through them. It's a song that flat makes up things that happened during this time period, which was a complete accident, I will grant them that.
The town of Chicago died, and they talk about it still.
Heck, that band is from the UK, and we Americans often get historical information wrong on purpose. Who am I caught the kettle here? I can't blame them fully for the mistakes this song makes, even if a lot of them are pretty stupid in hindsight.
There was a cop on the east side of Chicago.
Yeah, in case you don't know this one already, there is no east side of Chicago. There's a north side, south side, and middle part they call the west side. No east side, that's just Lake Michigan. So unless his dad was on boat patrol, this line is impossible.
But what I can blame them for is what their reaction is to such horribly violent acts.
I heard my mama cry. I heard her pray the night Chicago died. Brother, what a night it really was. Brother, what I thought it really was. Glory be.
Yeah, I don't care whether these events are fictional. This is like showing us footage like this. And then following it up with this.
I'm super! Thanks for asking. All things considered, I couldn't be better, I must say.
It's just phenomenally bad taste. Which would be in character for South Park, to be fair.
The night Chicago died. The night Chicago died.
Look, given how long I went on Waterloo and given how redundant I feel my thoughts are to Todd's, I'm keeping this short. If you really want more info, just check out his one-hit wonderland of it. It's a really good video. But to sum up, I think every second of this chintzy, overtly chipper, factually incorrect nonsense deserves the same treatment as an actual paper-laced doily, thrown out after only being used once. Because there's no use for any more crap like this.
The night Chicago died. Brother, what a night the people saw. Brother, what a fight the people saw.
Number 8. For those who haven't seen it, I highly recommend you check out my Disney versus review of The Princess and the Frog. But abbreviated version, I overall enjoyed the characters, music, and animation, despite some hiccups in the story. It's a movie I think definitely deserves more attention since I'm worried it gets overlooked, and I'm very proud of how the review came out. Especially since I made it as a gift for my mom's birthday, given it's one of her favorite Disney films. And likewise, she enjoyed the review too. Why am I bringing this up? Well, Mom, if you're watching this, you know I love ya, but we're occasionally gonna have different tastes. Yeah, I'm prefacing this entry with that specifically because my mom's not that fond of me putting this song on this list. Primarily because she's apparently a huge fan of Olivia Newton-John. I don't know about Olivia's actual music career, but one of my mom's favorite movies is this.
Summer loving had me a blast.
Summer loving happened so fast.
And, okay, fine, I have fond memories of Grease growing up, but if I set my nostalgia aside, the movie hasn't aged that great.
Tell me more, wasn't love at first sight.
Tell me more.
Did she put up a fight?
Wait, what the f*** did you just say? What is wrong with you, Kaneki? What is wrong? You're a monster, and you look 40.
But I will acknowledge that anyone who's a genuine fan of Olivia for her actual discography, I can't fault them too much for that.
Let me be there in your morning. Let me be there in your night.
Her early stuff is a bit too wholesome for me, but that doesn't mean she doesn't have a few good tracks in her.
Have you never been mellow? Have you never tried?
I can't play favorites here. I think her first #1 hit in the US, titled I Honestly Love You, is awful. Not for her vocals, which sound radiant. Who would I be kidding if I said otherwise?
This is pure and simple, and you must realize.
And while the production wouldn't feel that out of place on a Debbie Boone record, I can see the appeal of its lullaby-like structure.
I love you. I honestly love you.
Heck, even the lyrics at first glance don't seem that bad. It seems to be a song about a girl madly in love with a guy and working up the courage to tell him her true feelings about him.
I got something to tell you that I never thought I would, but I believe you really ought to know.
There is nothing wrong with that sentiment at all, although I question how close she is with this guy considering this lyric.
I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable. I'm not trying to make you anything at all.
If she was singing this to a steady boyfriend, I doubt she'd need to put that disclaimer in there, so are we to assume there? But hey, saying I love you to a friend is not inherently a bad idea for a song. It's a huge gamble that could lead to a beautiful relationship, but also might lead to a lot of awkwardness if he doesn't feel the same way. And which of those outcomes is the case here?
You don't have to answer. I see it in your eyes. Maybe it was better left unsaid.
Aw, that stinks. We get the implication that he doesn't love her back. Well, that's gotta sting, but kudos to the narrator for taking that leap. So yeah, this song seems totally fine. Why is it on this list then? I mean, I covered pretty much everything except the final verse. There can't be anything there to turn this perfectly decent song into something worthy of being on a list of the worst songs in the worst year in popular music, right?
If we both were born in another place and time, this moment might be ending in a kiss. But there you are with yours, and here I am with mine. So I guess we'll just be leaving it at this.
Okay, so this song just did this. Yeah, how do I put this? Remember that song, How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? I'll be generous and say the original, but still, that's another bad song about something similar. In that song, the singer drops a bombshell on a friend of hers she was always in love with, but didn't have the courage to say.
It's just a dream of mine is coming to an end. The hope that one day we'd be so much more than friends.
Until he was about to leave town with his girlfriend.
They said you were leaving, someone swept your heart away. From the look upon your face, I see it's true.
It's one of those songs that has the plot of a rom-com, but forces you to think what the actual ramifications are of it. Well, this...
Love you. I honestly love you.
Is actually worse than that song. And debatable, but vocal quality aside, yes, I do think this song is worse than How Am I Supposed to Live Without You on a purely lyrical level.
Tell me all about it. Tell me about the plans you're making.
Because the singer in that song is putting one relationship in a very uneasy position, this one is doing so with two relationships. As not only are both she and the man she's singing to taken, but presumably both of their SOs are in the same room with them.
There you are with yours, and here I am with mine. So I guess we'll just be leaving it at
So, what the heck is going on here? Are they both in arranged marriages, but at least she doesn't love her fiancé/husband or something? Because that's another bad rom-com trope that got turned to a complete song, apparently. And it throws more than a grenade in their relationships, it throws a Nagasaki-sized nuke into them.
This feeling doesn't come along every day.
I'd also argue this is worse than How Am I Supposed to Live Without You, because even if those are both terrible reveals at terrible moments, at least the former had the decency to give it away early on, this way until almost the very last moment. It's quite possibly the worst plot twist I've ever seen this side of M. Night Shyamalan. It honestly puts the entire song in a darker light now. Look!
Maybe I hang around here a little more than I should. We both know I got somewhere else to go.
Yeah, you're with somebody, and they've been wondering for a while now why you keep sneaking out the window at night.
I'm not trying to make you feel uncomfortable.
You're not trying to? Then wow, you are the queen of effortless home wrecking.
It's coming from my heart and not my head.
Okay, the not trying part I can't buy, the not thinking part that I believe.
Here I am with mine, so I guess we'll just be leaving it at this.
We, no. He does not love you. Do not implicate him in this too. Heather's breakup of Gwen Trent was less manipulative than this.
I honestly love you.
So, if you like this song on a sonic level, fair enough, it does sound nice, but that makes it sound all the more sinister to me. It seems so inviting and friendly and nothing to be concerned about at all, but then the final reveal shows who the true bad guy is.
There you are with yours, and here I am with mine.
Basically, Olivia Newton-John wrote herself like an animated Disney twist villain, a concept I am not a fan of.
It's coming from my heart and not my head.
Okay, maybe she wasn't being malicious and I'm totally off base. Maybe it really was just a heartfelt confession that had no thought put into it. But it still makes for a terrible love song when you now have other characters whose lives are now made more difficult because of it. So I don't care how this song sounds sonically, lyrically it brings everything else down. She tried showing how hopelessly devoted she was to this guy, but there were few worse things she could have done here. Olivia, I don't honestly hate you, but I do honestly hate this song.
I honestly love you.
Number 7. Let's be honest, this video is unfair to several songs that made the year-end list. Primarily because I didn't live in 1974. So I don't know what was considered good music back then. I'll give you a few examples.
Don't be a hero, don't be a fool with your life.
Feel like making love to you
The way we were.
Yeah, these are all songs I have no strong opinions of in either direction, but all hit number 1 on the mainstream charts. So evidently a lot of people like them, I just can't think of any reasons for it. And I do think it's just a generational thing, not at all the fault of any of these songs. I bring this up because this song made the list not because I wasn't alive in the 70s, but because I wasn't alive in the 60s either. So, this might be polarizing for some people. I've seen some blogs call this song garbage, but other blogs say it's actually really good. And if anyone out there actually happens to like this song, I will not fault you for that. This is purely subjective for me.
Do you remember back in old LA? Oh, when everybody drove a Chevrolet?
Heck, if you want to objectively look over the parts of this song I've had the most issue with in other entries so far, like the lyrics, they're actually not that bad, painting a mostly well-detailed portrait of a teen romance to big upbeat dance music. And if that's something that resonates with people, I won't dispute that. Me personally though, even if the songwriting's decent, it's not exactly Shakespeare. Wow, that's bizarre. And wait, who else wrote this? John Carter? You don't mean this guy, do you?
You, John Carter of Earth?
Yes, ma'am.
No, John Carter is actually the backbone of the band you see here, the First Class, a British pop music group that, gonna be honest, I didn't really enjoy listening to when going through their 3 songs that even hit the Billboard Hot 100. You've already gotten a taste of their biggest hit, Beach Baby, but listen to the other 2 songs and see if we hear the same thing.
When we were children, we played in your backyard. There she goes with her nose in the air. Funny how love can be.
If the first thing that came to your head was Beach Boys ripoff, I say, nah. I hear that a lot though.
Beach baby, give me your hand, give me something that I can remember.
Yeah, I've heard people on both the positive and negative spectrum of this song compare these guys to the Beach Boys. I guess it's because this song has a big summertime vibe to it in the same vein as Good Vibrations or Surfin' USA, but let's compare how this sounds to both of those songs and tell me if they actually sound similar.
Beach baby, there are the sand from July to the end of September. If everybody had a nose across the USA. I was everybody's friend.
For me, there's a distinct difference in how these songs sound. Both of those Beach Boy hits are perfect beach music. They're smooth, they're tight, they're expertly controlled in every capacity. Does any of that seem true of Beach Baby? I think Disassembled Cars are better put together than this song.
Beach baby, give me your hand, give me something that I can accept.
Yeah, the content might be overall unoffensive, but the actual music hurts my ears.
I never recognized the girl next door with beat up sneakers and the ponytail.
Granted, I'm a guy who understands the trends of 1960s popular music even less than the trends of 1970s popular music, but I don't know how anyone could compare these guys to the Beach Boys, because their songs weren't just perfect beach music, but perfect surfing music.
Everybody's got surfing USA.
Whereas Beach Baby is a song you set wipeouts to.
Beach baby, give me your hand, give me something that I can remember.
I'm sure a lot of people will disagree with me here, but I think this song is way overproduced. The Beach Boys kept it simple, with sparse orchestration that knew just how much to put in and how much to leave out.
I love the colorful clothes you wear and the way the sunlight plays upon her hair.
But this song just piled instrument on top of instrument on top of instrument that I have no idea how a beach dweller could enjoy it. Heck, I'm not even sure how people could enjoy the lyrics since the production pretty much drowns them out.
I never thought that it would end. I was everybody's friend.
Though man is lead singer Tony Burrows trying here.
We couldn't wait for graduation day. Oh no, except the car and drove to San Jose. Oh.
You know, Now, that's another difference between the First Class and the Beach Boys. The latter, at least in their prime, did seem like genuinely cool beach partygoers, like Jeff from Total Drama.
Dude, this resort is off the charts!
These guys are clearly dorks trying to capture that level of cool, like Ezekiel in Hawk Capture.
Being famous has totally changed my life. I'm just kicking it, yo. Got me some fly bling, too.
So when I see this individual video as one of the top results when you put Beach Boys into YouTube, no. The Beach Boys had their flaws, but don't tarnish their name by putting these guys in the same league. On a commercial flight, the Beach Boys are first class. And these twerps are clinging onto the exhaust. Good riddance. Number 6. Growing up, I remember the shows I watched over and over again, like Cyber Chase, Arthur, Clifford the Big Red Dog. You know what show I didn't watch growing up, though? Like, at all? I can't explain it either, folks, but if you grew up watching that, you might not like what I'm about to say here.
You're all ribbons and curls. Ooh, what a girl. Eyes that sparkle and shine.
Okay, for the record, even though I have no strong connection with the original narrator for Thomas the Tank Engine as a TV presenter, I obviously have no ill will towards Ringo Starr either, and how could most people? He's a Beatle. But he's also regarded as the least talented of the Beatles by default, which is a shame. I'm sure he's a wonderful guy. And honestly, as somebody who wasn't really familiar with his solo discography, I went back and looked at some of it and I rediscovered a couple favorites.
I was born in the north of England. I was raised in a working town. And I said, no, 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 I don't smoke it no more. I'm tired of waking up on the floor.
So yeah, with classics like those, there's obviously a lot to like about Ringo Starr. Most of which I can't cover in this hit because, might as well address the elephant in the room. The song is about being in love with a 16-year-old. And Ringo was 33 when he sang this.
You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine. You walked out of my dream, into my own. Now you're my angel divine.
Okay, I should clarify, I don't think Ringo Starr is a pedophile, even considering this song. After all, he is from the UK, where the age of consent is 16. Don't care. This is America. We're allowed to feel uneasy about age disparities like that, regardless of cultural differences. I'm not putting blame on other countries for having an age of consent lower than 18, it's their choice in the end. But when you have a love song being sung by a man over twice the age of a minor, you can't not make the song sound creepy. Well, maybe you could if you gave no specific details.
You come on like a dream, peaches and cream, lips like strawberry wine.
Or he could sing about kissing this underage girl more than once in the song. Oh, and here's a lyric that'll tower over well with today's public. Call this teenager your pet.
You're my baby, you're my pet. Out of my dreams and into my car.
Look, songs that put me on edge this much you'd normally reserve for the exceptionally bad tier. But while I do consider this song disgusting, I can't quite go that far, if only because I know this is all unintentional. For a number of reasons. One, given where he's from, I doubt Ringo put two and two together how this might sound.
You're 16, you're beautiful, and you're mine.
2, I have no idea how the US music listening public would have reacted at the time. I'd hope similar to how I do, but I can't control that. And 3, because Ringo isn't even technically the reason for this song's existence, as it's actually a cover of a rockabilly hit from 1960 by Johnny Burnett, who was 26 when he sang it. And written by the Sherman Brothers, who respectively were 32 and 35 when they wrote it. I'm trying to work with you guys here.
You come on like a dream, peaches and cream, lips like strawberry wine.
My point is, the blame for this song doesn't go squarely on Ringo, he's just the figurehead here. But one thing the original does have over Ringo's is, again, more well-controlled production.
You're all ribbons and curls, ooh what a girl, eyes that twinkle and shine.
Produced originally by Snuff Garrett and now here by Richard Perry, this song just sounds cheesy, and not enjoyably so. I don't consider myself to be anti any instrument, but the nail in the coffin for me with this orchestration was kazoos. Or not kazoos, but actually backing from Paul McCartney himself. Oh, screw all of this. Look, I think Ringo is a far better person and artist than anything this song represents, but when everything around this song makes me question if these guys have less self-awareness than the current White House staff, you know someone slipped up somewhere, and I cannot and will not ignore that. You're 16. You're distasteful, and you're done.